I felt like that opportunity, being in that place with that person who told me he didn't think I would succeed, that inspired me to succeed and prove him wrong. Because if you tell me I can't do something, I will prove you wrong.
Yeah. What's going on? This is Raviti. I hope everybody's having a good time. So today I have a very special guest for you. Yes, I'm talking about the one and only Lydia Gobena. So Lydia is an entrepreneur. She's an intellectual property lawyer. She's also a partner at New York's finest, Fross Zelnick Lehrman Zissu, and most importantly, she has her own jewelry line called Birabiro. I mean, this lady, she's also a mom, mind you. This lady is juggling it all, doing it all. So stay tuned as we have such an exceptional conversation with her. So thank you so much for agreeing to come on the Dreaming Colors platform. This means literally everything to me because, you know, like even the first time that I met you, the one thing that I said to you was like, if I ever have my own platform, would you come and interview? So you agreed, and then here you are. So thank you so much.
And I want to say thank you. I really appreciate it. I admire you. I think you're doing a wonderful thing, and I'm very happy to be there.
Thank you. Okay, so Lydia, I'm sure a lot of people know her because like among many things, she is an Instagram icon, a fashionista. Her page is addictive. It's addictive. I always tell her that. And she is primarily an intellectual property lawyer. She's going to tell us a little bit about herself.
Sure. So I'm a lawyer. I'm also a jeweler. I think, you know, I sort of started, I went to school. I studied law. I actually studied in the UK, and I did a comparative law degree, and it was really interesting to me because I studied different forms of law. In fact, one summer I went to Ethiopia and studied land reform, so my school gave me a grant to do that. So, you know, what was nice about it is I did this comparative law degree, and then I was able to come back to the States and eventually end up at my firm. And I have a wonderful practice where I work with lawyers all around the world, and I protect brand owners. So, you know, it's very intellectually stimulating. I work with some of the best brands, but I love the fact that I also work with some startups, and I help them formulate their strategy from when they want to sort of bring their brand to market, how you protect your trademarks, where you protect your trademarks so that you don't have problems later on.
Yeah. So how did you get into law?
Well, you know, I studied philosophy. I loved philosophy. I did that as my undergrad, and you know, I love to actually sit around all day and think. And you know, I think what was interesting to me is also my father worked for the World Bank, and because I came to the U.S. and I sort of saw this international organization, I thought it would be interesting to do something working with an international organization, which I didn't ultimately end up doing, but the work that I'm doing is international in scope. But it was something that I was always just sort of very interested in. You know, I like to argue points. I like to learn about different ways of how people deal with things. You know, one of my favorite classes I have to say in law school was we studied voodoo as a form of criminal law. You know, so taking these like sort of local rules and regulations and how you apply it to society. And I think that that's actually really fascinating to me.
It's actually my first time to hear because I studied law too. And like you though, it was chosen for me. My dad wanted me to study law, so I did study law and I liked it, but then my passion was somewhere else. So speaking of passion, tell us about Birabiro because you're juggling your law practice here and then you're an entrepreneur, most importantly, you're a creator. Like these pieces that you have right now, you made them, right?
I did.
So tell us about that. Tell us about Birabiro.
Well, so I started off making jewelry. I have very small hands and wrists, you know, and so basically I would try to buy things and it was very expensive to try to find something, or I actually was forced to buy children's like bracelets and things like that because my wrists are very small. So I did beading actually before I got into metalsmithing. So I would do beaded necklaces and everything, and that was fine. But you know, there was a certain point where I love constructing things. So I was supposed to take my first class on September 11th of 2001, and obviously that didn't happen. But you know, shortly thereafter, I started to learn how to make things out of metal. And I just love it. I find it meditative. Like I go to the studio. I don't draw. I don't really know how to draw, but I just go into the studio and I have wire and I have stones and other things, and I just sort of play with it and I get to create it. And I find it really interesting. And it's also a great tension release if you've had a very stressful day to just go into the studio and just let your mind wander and see what you make. And then what happened was over time, you know, my friends and colleagues I'd make stuff for them or my mother, and then, you know, and then I started, you know, selling things, and then, you know, so I had actually, as a good IP lawyer, I had registered the Birabiro Instagram handle when Instagram first came out. And so it stayed there. It actually lay dormant for a while, you know, and then about 3 years ago, I sort of decided that, you know, I was like, you know what, why don't I get my jewelry out there? And so I started to post pictures, you know, and this was sort of, you know, I'd take pictures of the jewelry. And then it was a certain point where it was nice and I was getting like a very slow number of people to sort of follow me. And then, but then I sort of added the fashion element to it. And you know, and I think that's when really sort of it took off and sort of it enabled me to sort of blend because I love clothes. I mean, I have a problem shopping and you know, it's like,
yeah, which is why I keep telling you her Instagram page, honestly, it's addictive, you guys. Like, I can't even tell you. Check her out, at Birabiro, but we'll get to that later on. All your pieces like unique, are they one of a kind or?
Some are and some aren't.
Okay.
So, you know, each of these flowers are made by hand. So each one, none of them, yeah, each of them are made by hand. So none of them look like each other. So, you know, even when I try to do a necklace, and I've done necklaces of these, none of them look the same. And, you know, but, you know, I think there are certain other things where I do bracelets like these where I can cast them. So I get castings done and then I can repeat them without remaking them. But, yeah, I mean, I actually like doing it with my hand because I want to make sure if it comes from me that it's up to my standards.
And then you have family, you have 2 kids too, right?
I do.
So let's talk about work-life balance, or is there such a thing?
I don't think there is. I mean, you know, frankly speaking, I work long hours. You know, I'm probably in the office probably 12 hours a day, but I'm also checking emails. You know, I think the thing is with, you know, my children, I mean, weekends are sacred to us. We also really make a conscious choice of doing vacations. But, you know, also my kids know they can sort of talk to me. You know, with my older one, we have 15 or 20 minutes every morning when we go to the bus where she tells me what's on her mind and we have like the interaction. But, you know, I mean, I think it's hard to juggle it, but I also want for my children to sort of see that you can do what you want to do. You know, you just have to work hard. And, you know, I believe in working hard and, you know, I instill that in them. And I think that having examples, and my husband also works quite hard, but you know, having that shows you like if you want something, you have to work for it.
As a lawyer, because you practice law at one of the finest law firms in New York,
Fross Zelnick,
and then you're also doing, you know, your jewelry line and everything. How are you able to juggle those? Because they're not connected at all. Like, you know, there's like 2 different industries. So.
Well, I think part of it is that I'm like one of those people that I have to be busy all the time. You know, I don't sit. I can't sit still. And so part of it is that, you know, actually when I was an associate and even when I became a partner, everyone knew that I made jewelry. It was, you know, something that I was very open about. I didn't hide it. And what's nice about it is when you practice the type of law that we do, you know, intellectual property is all about being creative. So I'm fortunate to work in a place that's very supportive of my artistic endeavors. And so, you know, really, I think having the left and right, you know, because I can use both as part of my brain. I actually think making jewelry makes me a better lawyer because I use a different part of my brain and I think I'm more creative at times and being able to figure things out. You know, I'm not necessarily a linear thinker. I'm a person that sort of likes to look at the whole picture, and I think having that jewelry and practicing and using that part of the brain really makes me look at things holistically, and I think that helps clients.
Wow, I'm like so inspired. So which leadership skill helped you in your Birabiro business?
Dream big, and I think you should always dream big, but I think you should dream small. So the thing is, to get to that bigger goal, and it may change over time, you take those little steps, you know, and even with Birabiro, I will tell you that, you know, it started off as just me making jewelry by myself. Birabiro became my email account. That was like how I first adopted Birabiro way back when. That was my Hotmail address, right?
Yeah.
And then over time, because I do, it's like metamorphosis, you know, it means butterfly, and then metamorphosis, I always believe in changing. I don't believe in being the same. And so I think part of it is with, you know, the leadership skill in terms of like Birabiro and even like doing what I'm doing with it is really sort of to dream small. Like, you know, I take something and every day, you know, I'll think about what I want to do, even one of my posts, and I'll think about it and I just throw it out to the world. And, you know, and I just sort of see what the universe sort of sees in it, or, you know, and just, but taking that and sort of figuring out, you know, what people sort of like, you know, and I think that's part of it, but also just dreaming smaller, you know, I've grown my following, I've made sales to people. I have people in Australia who wear my jewelry. It's just, but you have to dream big, but yet you have to also dream a little smaller and take those steps incrementally.
Or I think people see, I'm going to do this, it's going to happen, and it's going to happen immediately because I saw this person and they were able to be successful at this time, and now I'm struggling. And some of the, there was a Facebook post the other day, someone was saying there was this artist in her late 90s who had her first show. And so the thing is, sometimes it takes a long time, but part of it is that you learn from your missteps, you learn from what you do, and I think the way you're successful, and I think going back to the leadership thing is learning that a failure is not a failure, but a failure is something for you to learn from and build on and take it to the next level.
Yeah, somebody most recently said to me, people need to know the difference between failing and the end. Mm-hmm. Failing is just failing, that's it. You can always get up. It's not the end, so get up.
Right, so, and if you don't get up, I agree with you. Like if you don't get up, then
But I think you have to have failures in life. You can't. If you don't, then I don't think you really see what you can achieve.
So what keeps you up at night?
Sometimes I think that I can get spread a little too thinly, and so I think sometimes I feel like I'm not giving too much to this, or or should I be doing more of that? And I think part of that you do, and so but part of it also that I have to walk myself back and think, all right, you can only do what you can do, and what are the things you're going to achieve today?
Again, you have to try to keep yourself a little bit grounded. Otherwise, I think, I generally am a pretty good sleeper, but, once I get there. But so I really try to sort of learn from what I think might have been a misstep on a given day and try to figure it out, how to do it better.
You talked about that work balance. So there's just a lot of reasons why people don't necessarily approach their dreams. What's your take on that?
It's very simple. Life is very short. Honestly, I lost my sister when she was fairly young. Mm-hmm. I lost my father, and a lot of this, the way I am, is inspired by them, I will tell you, is that your life is very short. And so if you don't do it, then you're never going to achieve it. And you can wait till tomorrow, but tomorrow is never guaranteed. And so really, for anyone who's interested in doing something, start small, dream small.
Take that first step, but if you don't take that first step, you don't want to be 20 years down the line saying, I wish I could have done it. Because you can live your life with regret, but you may never have that.
The biggest joy I have is when someone else wears my jewelry, or if someone says something. I have one of my sort of customers who's also a friend tells me she doesn't take, I made this ring for her, a very simple ring, it's not typical of anything I usually do, but she never takes it off. So it's always there. And for me, that's the greatest pleasure. Yeah. I love seeing the Birabiro pieces all around because it just makes me happy when people wear them.
Because it's a legacy,
Yeah. What does success mean to you?
Well, to be a successful lawyer, it means that I have clients who are happy with the work that I do. I want to continue to help more clients. I think as a lawyer, you're only as good as your last client. And so, the thing is, I'm lucky in the sense that I have some larger, stable clients, but I always like to go out and meet people and help them. Because, especially the people that are just really starting out, for me, I take tremendous joy in sort of sitting down and figuring out what they are interested in and what they want to achieve, and then working with them and using my experience for that.
What are the best things that your mentor has told you, or your mentors has told you?
In terms of being a lawyer, my mentor said, clients will always remember the mistakes that you made. Which, I think is a very important key, because it's true. It's you're only as good as the job that you do. And, I think while that sounds a little scary at times, I think the thing is, it inspires me to give my best to clients, to really sort of work hard and show them that I'm thinking not about today, but I'm thinking about tomorrow. Because, I think to be a really good lawyer, you could solve, especially in the field that I am, you can solve an immediate problem, and maybe that's okay. But for a lot of my clients, I'm managing their trademark portfolios all around the world. So I have to anticipate what the next big issue is going to be. One thing I keep saying to clients, Africa is the next frontier. I think that really people need, people are investing in Africa.
Yeah.
I just came back from Ethiopia, and you see all the investment in the building and everything, and really, I think that you have to protect your rights there. You really have to sort of think about what's going to happen, because you may think that it's not important right now, but in 5 years it's going to be important. So really, I think it's to continue to make people happy, but also to sort of think about the future and really just help as many people as I can.
Okay, I know we touched on this a little bit. If someone was to come to you and say like, hey, you know, I have this dream, I really want to accomplish it, and I'm dreaming small and I'm taking all the actions in the world, but it's not working out for me, and I want to quit, what would your response be?
Well, you know, I will tell you that if you want to quit, you're not going to achieve it. And really, honestly, to get anywhere in life, and this is something I wish I learned much younger, is that life is about networking.
And not network, like I actually genuinely, I go out there and I go to different conferences, I go to different events, and I'm not one of those people that I'm going to be like, hi, how are you? My name, you know, just so that you can give me work. But I think the thing is to really, if you really want to do something, then what you need to do is find the opportunity or people, you know, that you can meet, because it's really important for anyone starting out or even maintaining your career is to really meet as many people as possible. And I think, you know, you can, because for any business or any dream that you have, if you're just sitting there and you're thinking people are coming to me, the reason why they're not coming to you is because that's not how life works. Like even on Instagram, like if I sat there and I just sent pictures out and then I didn't interact with people at all, I'm not going to have people following me or interacting with me, but really it's sort of like making connections. But I think what's more important than that is making genuine connections with people. Like, you know, I think to live your dream and to accomplish it, find someone who is similar to you. You know, and it could be someone who's your peer, it could be someone who's like a mentor, but really sort of try to connect with them. You know, in this day and age of social media and being online, you know, I mean, especially like reach out to someone. And people love to talk about themselves. So, you know, you could set up a bunch of questions to ask them about themselves. But really, you know, you haven't tried until you really work through trying to develop that network.
It's interesting you say that because I used to always say, you know, my network is so small, it's equivalent to a dot. You know, so my circle is so small, it's equivalent to a dot. But then having to start Dream in Colors Media, the one thing that I told myself is, okay, you know what, like it's time to get out of your comfort zone and then like try to meet as many people as possible, because if I want to bring go-getters to the dreamers out there to tell a story, then that's going to require me to be a go-getter too. So that's going to require me to come to you and introduce myself and say like, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. So yeah, you're absolutely right, because that's the one thing that I had to learn later in life as well.
No, I think, but it's also not necessarily part of our culture.
True, very true.
I think part of the culture is, you know, you listen, you go, you put your head down, and you work very hard. Right, exactly. And I think, you know, my father always used to say that, you know, I dance to a different drum beat, and I think that's true.
But part of it is that, you know, you really have to sort of be you. I mean, I think the older I got, that's the one thing I realized is like, you have to just be you, and you can't be ashamed of who you are. And, you know, and I think that you know, work hard, but as you said, like, it's like, for me, I'm much better at networking now or meeting people now, but it was like, I had to finally say to myself, well, the way I can do it is I should just try to talk to people and be friends with them.
Yeah.
You know, not to go because I want a specific thing in mind, because that's not in my nature. So you know, and I think it's for someone who's starting out or feel like they're failing, find the thing that makes you most comfortable.
Yeah. And then I think a lot of people also assume that people who network or have conversations are extrovert. So people normally say that, well, it's not in my nature, I'm not that kind of person. But then you have to, especially if you're a startup and you want to grow within your business, you have to.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, I think the thing is, and you have to push yourself a little, but at the same time, don't be fake. Because if
people take notice.
Oh, yeah.
Energy is everything.
No, it's true.
Energy is everything,
No, and you're doing such an amazing job, because I see what you're doing, and I see how hard you're working, and it's true. It's hard. Like, I mean, there are times that I like to be by myself. Like, you know, like there's times I like to, like, I love the studio for that, because I'm just in my head and I can work on my whatever I need to do.
Okay, so earlier on, I was doing a little homework about you, and I read one of the quotes from Paulo Coelho. And you talked about how anytime you want to start something, the universe always conspires.
So it's the quote is, if you want something bad enough, the universe will conspire with you to get it.
Yes.
And so that doesn't mean that the universe is just going to give you something.
Give it to you, yeah.
But, you know, I really did. Like, I went to law school. I didn't go to law school in the States. I did a master's. I did an LLM. You know, I really sort of, I will tell you, my first interaction is I did my LLM and then I was like looking for a position and I went to a family friend. I tell this story a lot because I think this is sort of one of those stories about the universe conspiring with you to get it. So I went to go talk to this family friend and I said, you know, I want to be a lawyer. But at the time, I probably was like nervous and I wasn't out there and I wasn't showing that I was so, you know, strong.
Yeah.
And so, you know, this family friend who, you know, was an established attorney sort of looks at me and he's like,
I just don't think you have it in you to be a successful lawyer. So I was really mad and, you know, but I wasn't going to fight with him because I was like, wow. So then actually I decided that, you know, I was really interested in my comparative law thing. So there's this organization that was, you know, about 20 blocks away from him. So I just went in and I walked in, like he pissed me off so much. I got up and I walked in and I said, I would like an internship. And I got it. But it was like one of those things where, you know, and I always in many ways thank him for being so, you know, being a defeatist because he told me I couldn't do it. And so I think with the universe, it's like if you really want it, and in that moment, I really wanted to be a lawyer. I really wanted to get that job because, you know, and I worked at it, but at the same time, I felt like that opportunity, being in that place with that person who told me he didn't think I would succeed, that inspired me to succeed and prove him wrong. Because if you tell me I can't do something, I will prove you wrong.
Yeah, I think it takes it requires a certain kind of personality too. Because even I was talking to my friend earlier on, I was saying the same thing. Like the moment somebody says no to me, I think to myself, oh snap, too bad for you. Because then that's going to that would automatically rev my engine. I'm going like 10 feet in.
Exactly.
So yeah.
But otherwise, if you don't, like if you want something, but if you don't want it and you don't, then you're not going to take the steps to get it.
Very true.
And
so where's that family friend now? What does he see when he sees you?
I haven't really interacted with him a lot. You know, he's a lawyer and I think he's a partner at a firm, but I'm a partner at a firm. And I'm a partner at a firm that I'm happy to be with and, you know, gives me lots of opportunities. So, you know, the point is that, you know, just, you know, part of it is whatever happens to you in life, but you are the driver in your car to your destinies.
Love it. What's next for Lydia and what's next for Birabiro?
You know, I want to continue to be a successful lawyer, you know, and I also want to raise happy kids that are successful at whatever they do.
Okay.
Because that's really what's next for me. I think in terms of every day I wear whatever and I send it out to the universe and and it makes me happy because I think people are kind. You know, you always hear about terrible things on social media, but people are always really nice to me. And, you know, it's sort of an inspiration and it lets me, and I'm grateful to have that outlet where I can take my creativity, both in terms of my jewelry and even the way I dress, and really sort of have it out in the universe. And, you know, I think I'm going to continue to do that and we'll see where it takes me. Like last year, actually, the last couple of years, I had some great experiences as a result of Birabiro. I was in a book that was published in Australia. I was, the shoe company came and videotaped me and they put it on their blog. So, you know, the thing with Birabiro is I never know what tomorrow is going to bring or what people are going to come to me with. I want to get out there. I want to meet more people. I've made some great friends from it, but it's also like it enables me to express myself.
Okay, so if people want to, you know, to buy your jewelry, where would they be able to find it?
They can find some of the pieces on my Instagram account, Birabiro, at Birabiro, Birabiro.
Okay.
But also I have an Etsy page, which is birabiro.com.
Okay.
But if you see something on Instagram and you don't see it on Etsy, then you can always contact me by email through the email link on Instagram, and I can see if I can make you it.
Awesome. And then if they want to use your low practice, like how do they get you?
So you can reach me at Gobena at fzlz.com. And I'm also happy to tell you the truth. If people are in law school and they want to talk to someone who's practicing law, I'm always happy to get on the phone to talk to people or have a coffee.
Okay, so this is a very good opportunity for you guys. Honestly, the moment you hear this, jump on the call, take advantage of this and what you just offered. Don't let it float. Honestly, I'm telling you. So thank you so much, Lydia. Like, you are amazing. You're so inspirational.
So are you.
You're a go-getter. I mean, I can't even tell you. Like, thank you so much.
So are you. So thank you. This is why we get along so well.
Thank you so much.